Okay, here we go. So now we want to deal with adding your data to this spreadsheet. And we have to get rid of this data first because this is just, well, it's not made up data, but it's data from people from last year. And so in this case, you want to save this. We're going to make a copy of it. So I have two sheets here, but you only have one, I think, unless you added something. So I'm going to go down here to the lower left and see the cursor is pointing at it. Now I'm going to click the right mouse button, and this menu pops up, and I'm going to say move or copy, and then I am going to say create a copy, and I'm going to just click move it to the end, and there's my new one here at the very end. What you'll see is something like this with the two right next to each other. So now what I have to do to add my data from my notebook is I first have to clear these guys. So you got to be careful to only select these three columns here, and I've got them selected, and I right mouse click and I go clear contents. Okay, now you get all these panic messages, your graph disappeared. It's horrible, but that's alright. We'll make this work. So I'm going to pause this. You won't notice anything, but I'll start again in a moment. Okay, I'm back now, although you wouldn't have noticed any difference. So now I've typed in, well, I actually copy pasted because I have the data, but this is what you're going to see when your data points are all typed in. Now I've got some ambitious students, and they had 52, 51 points. You may not have that many, and I wouldn't worry about it if you don't. Okay, so one thing we like to do is we might want to preserve these borders, and that's up to you. So, you see the numbers sticking out down here past the borders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all these cells that I'm going to need, and there they are. And I think we did it in one of the videos. And I right mouse click, and there's right here borders, and I'm just going to say all borders. Now I've got it all complete. Okay, so what we have to do now is we have to be careful, but we want to fill in all the rest. We want to start here with this delta t. You don't want to grab any of your data points because you don't want to overwrite them. And you want to select across all three of these things. And then you're going to click this thing, the fill handle, right here. And we're going to just drag this down. There we go, right there. And now we've got all the boxes filled in, and the delta t's see the same, and now you can see the delta x's, and they're getting bigger as we suspect, and the velocity is getting bigger as we suspect. And we can double check, and so this is getting the delta x, the delta t going to the cell before, and then it still is, and then it's dividing to get the speed, and then this is the error that we just took from the sigma x column because we went over that before. And now here is the value that goes for the red line, and we still see that it's using N3, which is our slope number, and it's using N4, which is our y-intercept number. So we're happy. Okay, so now we click on the chart. So this is where it's a little bit tricky, but we should be able to work this out. Now watch what I do. I select the chart, I right mouse click, and I go to select data. Select data, and little dialog box pops up. So now I want to edit. So I'm going to first edit this one, and I'm surprised it's not high. Oh, here we go. That's the label. We don't have to change that. Now we click here, and now we see the X values are highlighted. And then we click here inside, and the Y values, we see they're not big enough. Okay, so it's really straightforward. We go back to this funky looking boxy looking thing here, and we see we're going to start. We can start here. We click once again, and notice the A2 appears just like before. And we keep dragging down now, and we drag down till we get to the end of our data right there. And the graph may change. No, the graph isn't doing anything yet. And once again, we click on this little box here for the Y values, and we just grab the first one, and we go down, and we hit this again, and we see, well, the graph has changed. That's cool. Now, just the biggest mistake is if these two columns of numbers, A2, F2, A52, F52, if they don't match, then Excel will hiccup and it won't want to create a scatter graph anymore. So make sure you get those right. Okay, so now we need to change the numbers for the red line, and we select it, hit edit, and once again we click here. There's our X values, the times, and we go and select them again. And then similarly for the Y values, now just remember it's the H column. It's the calculated values from Y equals mx plus b. There we go. We do that. And we say, we check and see that it's all symmetric again. And then we say OK, and we say OK again. Now, the graph, the limits have stayed the same because we need to change them. And we do that, we click on the axis once, and then we go with the left button, and then we go click, click, and on the right we see this options comes up, and we see here minimum and maximum, and I typed in my own, so we just click this, reset, reset, and there we see everything. Nice, huh? So the axis goes from 0 up to 6. You could change that if you want to make it look different. That's up to you. Okay, nice. And you'll notice, just as I mentioned, the error bars are gone because the errors now are just so small you can't see them anymore. And I can just pick one at random here, and let's type in 5. And I don't see an error bar appear, so that makes me suspicious. Okay, so let's double check. So we select the series, and then we want to say vertical Y error bars, and they are actually there you go. So that's what's wrong. We've only got the error bars on the first points, so we also have to change this. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to do it again. So let's do this. And now I click on the series. See, they're highlighted, the dots, the blue dots that are my data points. And now I go click, click. Oops. And then this appears here. So that's the format, the series, the data series. And now I go up to series options, series V, that's in centimeters per second, Y error bars. And I go back here, and we remember we did them custom, but now we've got to change the cells that are referenced. So we specify value. So we're going to use the same cells for positive or negative. So we start at the top here. And we go all the way down, cover all our data. And remember, this is the sigma on the V. So that's, see here, sigma on the V. So I select the first one once again. and I drag down, and then I'm done there. Let go. Check to see if these are symmetric. Can't be done. Okay, well, the fastest way to see that you got it right is if when we're done, ooh, that's bad, so I'm going to cancel that and do it again. Don't worry, it's no big deal. You won't have to worry about that. So here, oops, just make sure you select vertically. Done. Here. One more time. Come on, baby. There we go. Alright, then we say OK. Ah, there we go. Now I see some error bars. They're tiny, and we can just check it. Let's just pick one in the middle. Type 5, and oops. Why did that not work? Because that was the delta t, I bet. Let's make sure we're doing what we think we're doing. So we scroll up. Ah, that was delta t. So this is the sigma x. So I type in 5, and there we see a big error bar appears. So now I just hit the undo button up on the left, and there you have it. Now there you go. There's all your data points. So now you can play around with the slope until you see something you like. So now let's try 9.5. So that's a little bit too small. Maybe I have to make it 9.6. 9.6. Alright, and then now you can make your best fit line. It still could be a little better. You might want to change the y-intercept to 0. And so play around with that. And then I will make another video with a simple way to help make sure you've got the right value, the right fit. But now you see we've got a slope here of 9.6 centimeters per second squared. At least that's what this thing says it is. So now you've got to figure out that do I believe it, or maybe I have to do some other conversion. But I think that this should be a sensible number. Oh, well, wait a minute. This is my funky data. This has nothing to. That's right. This is not real data. This is made up data. So your number is going to be different. So don't worry about it. You should get the right number. But this is your slope. That's your A experimental. Now, don't forget, you have to do this for the going uphill as well. So you can just, what I did before, just copy and just go through the whole steps, and you'll get another graph there. Anyways, good luck, and watch for the video for how to take this a step further.